Hi, I'm Terry Murphy for Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate, and one of my favorites in the men's room. And today we have a definite in the ladies' room. We have an expert. Kathy is a longtime friend of mine. She's the owner of Que Sguardo, and she's going to tell you what that means in just a minute. It happens to be one of the premier makeup studios in Chicago. Kathy is a former Miss Illinois winner and a Miss USA semifinalist. You know, her accomplishments include international modeling, and I have to tell you, some of her pictures today are still breathtaking. Top fashion and beauty industry icons like Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. Kathy actually started Que Sguardo Makeup Studio in 1984 with a focus on serving the commercial beauty industry, but also anyone who's passionate about looking healthy and feeling vibrant. She's an extensive experience as an expert in both personal and professional image and beauty industries. Welcome, Kathy Schmalen.
Well, thank you very much, Terry. I'm really appreciative that you had me on.
Are you kidding? Kathy did my first book covers when and I was pretty snobby about makeup. I thought I pretty much had it down. I mean, black eyeliner with matching red lipstick was the key. Kathy was wise enough and helpful enough to help me segue out of my, I will call it the hood look, because that's what was really prevalent.
What would you call that look?
Well, we call it the hood look. And it's just because, you know, in makeup, Kathy, we learn, you know, we put it on in high school, we experiment, but then some of us never transition out. And we're going to get into that, but one of the things that I thought was most important for you is here you are, this absolutely, and I mean, show-stopping model. I know you don't like to hear that too bad. On the covers of Cosmopolitan, Harper's Bazaar, just beautiful work, and you know what it takes. God blessed you with a number of really good things, but then you decide to go into a service business like makeup in Chicago, one of the most competitive markets on the planet. Makeup is sold by major houses like Yves Saint Laurent and Lancome and everything else, and you choose to do that and still maintain for all of these years to being the high resource go-to place for major industries like the movie industry, NBC, as a matter of fact. We're going to be interviewing one of the people you work with later. The market in Chicago is not only expensive, rent-wise and competitive-wise, but you know, you are a resource and a destination for so many for so long. Tell us what made you transition from being in front of the camera to helping people look really great behind the camera.
Well, I think, of course, every business you do transition on even a daily basis, but I did find many years ago that when I was extensively traveling with my business, with the modeling and the acting and such, so I was in a lot of foreign countries, and you say Chicago is a kind of hot market. Chicago's always been the Midwest. Chicago has always been, and I believe still is, considered the second or third city when we're talking about cities and where somebody likes to be and where somebody finds things, anything. So in the 80s and the late 70s and early 80s, when I was working as a model and traveling so much, I just kept finding that everybody else had these things, but we didn't have those things here in Chicago when I had started in the industry. We were very hard workers. It was a big catalog city, big industrial film city and such, but still something that we didn't have the fashion-oriented resources that I felt we needed as individuals in the professional trade. And when I'm talking about that, even when I started in business, there were like, this is the handful of makeup artists that were here in town in the professional industry, not people in department stores that are working on a certain line or something like that, but makeup artists who had their craft put together and were in the industry working in either the little bit of film that was here at that time, or the photography end of it, or the theater end of it. So it was pretty much the beginning to roll out what my concept was for the shop.
well, and clearly well placed and well timed, even though.
Well, it was really not great timing because Chicago never did work its way up into what I envisioned K Squarto as being. I started K Squarto with basically two brands. And let me just explain to you a little bit, because you did say, you know, Yves Saint Laurent, and there are quite a few cosmetic houses and a lot of celebrities that are coming out with makeup and such. They don't all make their own makeup. They have an idea and they expound on that idea and go somewhere to have the makeup made. So once you know there are very few resources for good makeup, you want to go to the professionals. And that's exactly what I did. Was I brought in the professionals makeup. So it's very pure makeup in the respect that it doesn't have a lot of fillers. It doesn't, you know, believe in all these different fragrances kind of thing. They don't make an ingredient list so big just because they want to say, oh, this person will like us having this item in it. Oh, this person will like us having this item in it. So then they put everything into it, and you have the entire back of a product showing the ingredients. And a lot of the ingredients you'll pick up, you know, from here in a professional makeup, and it'll have a few basic ingredients that allow that product to do what it does. And that's it.
Well, you know, we talked about, first of all, tell everyone what Sguardo means in Italian.
In Italian, it's sguardare is a verb, and che means that. So it means that look, or at a glance. If you really break it down, it means to glance sideways at something.
And that's kind of interesting and seductive at the same time. And when you talk about the look, you experience a lot of different women. I mean, your studio, Chicago Med's there,
and women,
and men too.
We deal with many professionals and people who also just want to look their best and feel their best. Mm-hmm.
So when you're in front of a camera, in the case of the anchors in Chicago or the movies being done in Chicago, you've got to make them look their best. And there's got to be a common issue that is always there. I mean, I know for you, it's the pureness of the products and good skincare and health that comes first. But have you found that there's been one major consistency that everybody seems to have to deal with? Would it be choice of colors? Would it be inflexibility to look different, or, you know, that kind of?
The biggest problem with someone doing their makeup correctly for film or in the public eye per se is to look at themselves, to be able to stand back and actually look at themselves. I think everybody has a perception about the way they look, but that's not in reality the way somebody else sees you at all. And you can't get that from taking a picture of yourself, you know, with your telephone and looking at yourself, or, you know, creating this image that's unrealistic of yourself, or filling yourself with Botox. And so, I mean, you just can't get that from that. There are things that we know in the trade that are very simple in a way, but it's like a set of rules that every face needs to accomplish. And it's the same in the artist. When I first started the business back in the 80s, my idea and the way I felt about makeup was the artists are artists. They know the planes of the face. They know how to take this flat piece of nothing and pull it forward and push it backwards and really work with this chiaroscuro method. So I'm not saying that everybody's going to turn into a makeup artist if they, you know, have their makeup that they know how to do it. But that's the idea that you have to think. You have to think of the fun of that and pulling forth what you have inside of yourself, not just making you look like everybody else. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, a man or a woman, they want to look like, I want to look like so-and-so. Well, you're not so-and-so. And to get forth your ideas and to be able to communicate what you need to communicate on film, you have to look like what you're portraying. So if you're portraying yourself like you are when you're on film, Terry, we bring forth, you know, your beauty, your inner beauty. With an actor, that it's a little different, because then you play a game and you know, find out who they're supposed to be, and you can pull that out of them.